नमस्कार मंडली, मेरा नाम है सिद्धेश and today we are going to talk about the relationship between British East India Company and the islands of Mumbai. Mumbai city used to be an archipelago. An archipelago is a group of islands. अरे हंसू ना यार, it is so hard to say archipelago.
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 Archipelago. अरे भाई कोई पानी पिला दो.
शोला है या है बिजुरिया, दिल की बजरिया, बम्बई नगरिया.
Let's take a quick look at all the islands of the city of Mumbai. At the bottommost you have Kolaba, which is a corruption of the name Kolbat, which basically means the place of Koris. All the islands of Mumbai had Koris as their original inhabitants, not this Koli. Maybe this Koli? At the north of Kolaba you have Old Woman's Island, again a corruption of the name Al Oman according to some sources. Al Oman because people of this island used to go all the way up to Gulf of Oman for fishing. To the north of this island you have the island of Bombay. This was the biggest landmass. It stretched from all the way the Malabar Hills to the west to the Dongri on the east. To the north of these islands you have Mazgaon, which again I think is the corruption of the name Masegaon. Because there was again another big colony of the Kori fishermen there. In front of Mazgaon you have the island of Worli, and to the north of Worli you have the island of Mahim, and besides that you have the island of Parel, which is where places like Dadar, Matunga and Sion used to be or are. During the first half of 1600 it was actually the Portuguese and not the British who were controlling the islands of Bombay along with Salsette Island and Bossin. Now if you're wondering what the hell are Salsette Islands and Bossin, you're not alone. And I looked this up. The Salsette Islands were actually Sahasrashtra Islands. So this is where the current Mumbai suburbs is, and the islands were called Sahasrashtra Islands by the local, which got translated somehow to Salsette. And Bossin was actually Vasai. So I guess when someone told the Portuguese what the name of the island was, Vasai, they heard it as Bossin. Hey तुम, इस island का नाम क्या है?
वसई साहब, वसई.
Bossin?
नहीं, वसई.
Bossin. The British East India Company were looking for a place to establish their base in Western India. They thought that Bombay was the perfect candidate. Not only it had a good natural harbour, but it was also safe from outside attacks. The British tried to capture the islands from Portuguese, but were unsuccessful. They finally had to resort to diplomacy. The King of Portugal was afraid of Spain. He wanted a strong ally, so he proposed the marriage of his daughter Catherine to the King of England, Charles II. The East India Company officials in Britain saw this as the perfect opportunity and lobbied to get the islands of Bombay as part of the marriage treaty. Basically, वो लोग दहेज में बॉम्बे मांग रहे थे. पोर्चुगल में बैठे किंग को बॉम्बे की कोई आइडिया नहीं थी. उसने वो सारे आइलैंड्स किंग चार्ल्स II को डावरी में दे दिए. बोला चा बेटा जी ले अपनी ज़िंदगी. यहाँ तक कि चार्ल्स II को भी बॉम्बे के बारे में कोई आइडिया नहीं थी. उसको एक्चुअली लगा उसको कोई आइलैंड्स मिल रहे क्लोज टू ब्राज़ील. King Charles II sent his forces to Bombay to collect the islands from the Portuguese. The British thought कि उनको सहस्त्र आइलैंड मिल रहे थे, वसई आइलैंड्स मिल रहे थे और बॉम्बे के सारे आइलैंड्स मिल रहे थे. बट जब वो वहाँ पहुंचे तो पोर्चुगीज ने उन्हें कहा कि भाई तुमको बस ये छोटा सा बॉम्बे आइलैंड मिल रहा है. द ब्रिटिश आर्ग्यूड अ लॉट बट द पोर्चुगीज वर वेरी फर्म. दे सेड ये लेने का है तो लो, नहीं तो निकलो. फाइनली द ब्रिटिश एक्सेप्टेड टू टेक वॉट एवर द पोर्चुगीज वर गिविंग. However, the British had no intentions of just keeping to their part of the island. They soon started spreading and acquired the rest of the islands as well. Eventually, all the 7 islands were under the control of the British. The Portuguese were furious. They went to complain to their king. But since king was ladkiwala, he did not do much. They even went to a court. But in the court, it was proven that in the marriage treaty, all the islands belonged to British. Even with all the islands of Bombay in control of the British, they were finding it hard to run them and get profit out of them. So King Charles II decided to give away the islands to East India Company for a rent of 10 pounds of gold per year. The East India Company always wanted the islands under their own control. Now that they had it, they went about developing it. They made sure that the islands had good administration, good law and order, and they also created opportunities for businessmen to come from all over the lands and settle there. They made sure that they got incentives, and they made sure that there was no enforcement of any religious doctrines. This resulted in a massive immigration. The population of the city grew six-folds. In 1661, the population of Bombay was 10,000 and in 1675 it was up to 60,000. In 1686, British East India Company ने उसका headquarters सूरत से बॉम्बे मूव कर दिया, making Bombay the capital of its administration and headquarters of its operation in India. As more and more people started coming to Bombay, the Britishers realized that if they want the city to be successful, they need more land, and hence they started the reclamation projects. The first things they did was they closed the breaches between the different islands. By closing the breaches, they were stopping the water from coming in, and they had outlets for the already existing water to go out. Now all they had to do was go to the hills nearby and get the mud and the sand and the stones to fill up all these patches where water used to be. And that's how the 7 islands of Mumbai came ek saath. Hope you really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun learning and reading about Mumbai's history and the events surrounding it. अगर तुमको भी interest है इन सब चीज़ों में, so I have put the links in the description to all the research material that I used. Please go and read. It's really interesting and it's very fascinating. Finally, I will leave you with this. Even 350 years ago, people were fighting and arguing about Mumbai Konachi. But the answer has always been the same. Mumbai आपल्या सगळ्यांची. Because Mumbai is able to meet everyone's demand. And if it cannot, then it just expands. Thank you. Namaskar Mandali. If you are a Mumbaikar or have been to Mumbai a couple of times, chances are that you have heard of JJ. JJ Flyover, JJ Hospital, JJ School of Art, JJ Shiv Shankar. But who is this JJ? Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about India's first knight, Bombay's most worthy son, Apno Dikra, Sir Jamsetji Jijaboy. जमशेदजी का लाइफ स्टोरी एकदम हिंदी पिक्चर के माफिक है. Jamsetji was born in 1783 in a poor Parsi family and at the age of 16 lost both his parents. He then moved to Bombay to join his uncle's business of bottles. His uncle used to sell empty bottles. It is during this time that he got the nickname Batliwala, and he liked the name so much that he used to sign all his letters as Batliwala. At the age of 20, he got married to his uncle's daughter Avabai, and he also started traveling to China to trade and learn new businesses. जमशेद जी के खून में बिजनेस भरा था और सिर्फ एक बाटली से उनका काम नहीं होने वाला था. It was during one of his trips to China that something happened, something that would change Jamshedji's life forever and also alter the course of Bombay's history. Jamshedji used to travel to China in British East India Company's naval ships. During this time, there was a war going on between Britain and France called the Napoleonic Wars. So whenever a British ship would encounter a French ship, there would be the naval war between them. And हमारे जमशेद जी बीच में फंस जाते थे. 3 टाइम तो जमशेद जी बच गए, but on the 4th time he was captured by the French and taken to Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. सबको लगा जमशेद जी गए, but somehow Jamshed ji managed to come back to Bombay. During his time as the prisoner, he met Jardine, who was a doctor on the British East India Company ship he was traveling on. Jardine British East India Company से रिटायर होने वाला था और खुद का बिजनेस सेटअप करने वाला था हांगकांग में. उसने जमशेद जी को ऑफर दिया उसको ज्वाइन करने का और जमशेद जी ने वो एक्सेप्ट कर लिया. Britain used to import a lot of tea from China, because of which the British were losing a lot of money. The British needed to find an alternative, something that the Chinese needed as much as they needed tea. So the British started selling them opium, हफीम. साला ये लोग ने अपने को चाय का आदत लगाया, अपन ये लोग को हफीम का आदत लगाएगा. As you can imagine, opium was a very profitable commodity. So Jardine and Jijaboy got involved in it. Jijaboy used to get opium from within India and supply it to Jardine in Hong Kong, who would then distribute it all over China. At one point, Jardine and Jijaboy were controlling 1/3 of the opium trade in China. By the time he was 40, Jamshedji was already one of the most richest men in India. But the story doesn't end here, and the second innings are about to start. भाई पैसा तो बहुत कमा लिया, अब इज्जत कमाते. Not that Jamshedji did not have इज्जत. He was already well known in the business circles amongst his Indian counterparts and also the Europeans. However, Jamshedji always thought big, life में कुछ बड़ा करने का. So when his son was old enough, he stepped away from the business and entered public and philanthropy life.
Philanthropy.
He wanted to give back to the community, to the city, and to the country that had treated him so well. He started by paying off the debts of all the prisoners in Bombay's civil jail. He then went on to finance many public works like roads, wells, reservoirs, schools, and hospitals. His generosity was so well known that people from all over started approaching him for help. Even the proud Punekars approached a person from Bombay. Could you imagine that?
तुमच्या मुंबईकडे स्वतःचं म्हणण्यासारखं काय ग?
They approached him to fix the water system and nalas of Pune city.
तुमच्या मुंबईकडे स्वतःचं म्हणण्यासारखं काय ग?
Jamshedji gave 2/3 of the money required to build the water system in Pune. He always felt that Bombay should have a good hospital and so approached the governor of Bombay to build one. The British were not only shocked but also surprised. A local admi was telling them what to do and was also ready to give them money to do it. He not only funded the construction, donated the land, but was also part of the planning committee which was responsible for standing up the hospital and the college area. Although not formally educated, he donated to numerous schools, most prominently the JJ School of Arts, which was named after him because of his generous donation. He also supported journalism by sponsoring the Bombay Samachar and then later the Bombay Times, which would go on to become the Times of India. इंसान तो इंसान, अपनो सर जमशेदजी जिजाबॉय ने तो जानवरों के लिए भी दिल खोल के पैसा दिया. He constructed many shelters for stray animals and there is also a story about how he donated a land close to Marine Drive for animals to graze because the British were charging fee for animals to graze in Azad Maidan and the area came to be known as Charni because animals were churring there, and when they built a station there they called it Charni Road. I could not find a source of this story, so this is probably just an urban legend. As you can see, Jamshedji's list of generosity just keeps on going. Eventually, the British made him part of the Bombay governance because of his stature and respect throughout the city. It was during this time in 1842 that he became the first Indian to be knighted. Knighted matlab you get to put Sir in front of your name. So Jamshedji becomes Sir Jamshedji Jijabai. By becoming a knight of the British Empire, Sir Jamshedji Jijabai opened up the doors for Indians to be seen on equal footing with their British counterpart. Eventually, for his continuous contribution to the society and Bombay in particular, he was awarded with the Baronet of Bombay. Knighthood सिर्फ एक particular person को मिलता है, but Baronet is for his entire family, for his line, for his vansh. So if Sir Jamshedji Jijabai has a son, he can also put the title Sir, but only when his father dies, and he also has to take his father's name. So the title will always be Sir Jamshedji Jijabai. The first person will be called Sir Jamshedji Jijabai first Baronet, the second one be second Baronet, and so on. Even today, Sir Jamshedji Jijabai 8th Baronet exist. He's Rustamji Manikji. He's on the board of Tata Groups. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you got to learn something about Bombay's most worthy son. And before you leave, I want to tell you one more story about the Jijaboys. As I told you in the last video, Bombay used to be a group of 7 islands. The 7 islands eventually came together. But by 1841, they were still not connected to the Salsette Islands, which are today Mumbai suburbs. People used to travel in boats from Mahim to Bandra, or used to walk on the swampy areas, but during high tide or the rains, there used to be a lot of accidents which amounted in the loss of human lives. People wanted the British government to construct a causeway joining Mahim and Bandra, but the British government was not interested. They said, किसको जाने का Bandra? क्यों जाने का Bandra? उधर क्या रखा है? इधर रहो ना चुपचाप. That is when Lady Avabai, wife of Jamshedji Jijabai, decided to step in and pay for the entire construction of the causeway joining Mahim and Bandra. But she had some conditions. Condition number 1, no one should be asked for any money to use this causeway, so no tolls. Condition number 2, existing Koi communities on both sides of the islands should not be disturbed. And condition number 3, this is very important. She said that rickshaws should not come on this side. They should stay on Bandra side and should not be allowed on the city islands. The third condition is not true. Thank you.